So My Timothy's and Lemon. Have you seen him?
I haven't seen him yet, no.
As we record this show today, the red carpet has just finished. The ceremony has started.
Some of us know what people were wearing the red carpet because we were doing our prep in front of the TV together
He's
as a group.
wearing a glorious lemon suit. Demi is a sparkling sequin vision, isn't she, Mia?
I saw Ariana. She looks like a doll.
Oh,
I
my
had
goodness.
very few notes for the red carpet. I thought
So
they were
far.
outstanding. We're going to be talking about it more tomorrow, but it was really high quality this year.
If you care deeply about it. Proper
I'm going to give a
Mia fashion
brutal,
feedback.
honest fashion feedback from me tomorrow.
And an Oscar deep dive on our subscriber app. But today, we thought we'd bring you up to date on some of the ding-dongs behind that tasteful neutral backdrop in the form of the controversies that have threatened to derail the Oscars this year before they even began. Who's going first? Is it you, Mia
It's
Friedman?
me. Now, this has probably been the biggest controversy, not just of this Oscar season, but almost of any Oscar season, not since Oscars So White, when there was that big pushback by people saying that too many of the Oscar voters were white and that was causing a complete lack of diversity in the nominees. That has since been rectified. But this year, it's a controversy that probably rivals that one. Carla Sofia Gascon is the first openly trans actress who was nominated for a lead acting Oscar for her role in Emilia Perez. She has faced significant backlash and has pretty much blown up her entire campaign when offensive tweets from 2016 to 2024 resurfaced soon after she won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a musical or comedy
You
in
don't
January.
want 8 years of bad tweets. You don't.
No. And now the idea of going through someone's past tweets to discredit them or embarrass them or disqualify them from something is not new. And usually I'm not a fan of that because I think we all want to believe that people can grow and change. These tweets are fairly recent. 2016 to 2024 is the time period we're talking about. And some of the tweets...
You mean like the one where she said, Islam is becoming a hotbed of infection for humanity that urgently needs to be cured?
On George Floyd in 2020, she said, I really think that very few people ever cared about George Floyd, a drug addict swindler. And then back to the Oscars So White campaign, she spoke about the 2021 Oscars. She said, I didn't know if I was watching an Afro-Korean festival, a Black Lives Matter demonstration, or the Women's March.
Wow.
So while her nomination was heralded by many as triumph for inclusion, the irony is that these sort of homophobic, Islamophobic, sexist, racist tweets did not paint her in a very good light. And it brought the whole campaign for her movie, which was a Netflix film, into disrepute. She deactivated her X account soon after and she went rogue. She organised her own interview on CNN Espanol and it was an absolute car wreck. And at that point, Netflix basically said, we're not paying for your awards show travel anymore. And it's very expensive because it's been a very condensed, very busy awards show season, and usually the studio will pay for wardrobes, a stylist, hair and makeup, your travel, your accommodation, all of those things. So she's been absent from a lot of the awards, including the SAGs and some of the other award shows.
Was she there at the Oscars?
So she skipped the red carpet and she did feature in Conan O'Brien's opening monologue. So yeah, people are saying that could bring down Zoe Saldana's campaign for Best Supporting Actress, although now that seems to be on lock. By the time you listen to this, we'll know she'll probably win Best Supporting.
I want to talk about the controversy around The Brutalist, the movie with Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones.
I don't want to see that movie.
I-
It's 3 hours
I
long.
want-
Everyone says it's amazing.
There's an
but
interval.
it's-
Holly,
yes.
I don't want to see it, but I want to have seen it.
Yeah, you're
I want
right.
to have
It's
seen
like
it.
you want to have inputted.
Yeah.
Yes.
The controversy around this started with an interview with the Oscar-nominated editor. And he said in passing, oh yeah, we used a software company which specialises in AI voice-generating tech to make Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones sound more authentic when they spoke Hungarian in the film. So for context, most of the time they're speaking English with a Hungarian accent. That's all them. But there are a few lines where they're speaking Hungarian. And the aim of the film was we want it to be that the most local Hungarian could not tell that these are, accents. The director has said that it was only used on certain vowels. And interestingly, When you think about other films that have been made, there's actually, if you're editing a film in post-production, you can just do this. Think about like, what do they call it when like Kanye West, bad example, what do you call it?
Auto-tune.
You can use auto-tune.
Think about auto-tune, right? So there are actually tools that you could do
So
it
it's like auto-tune for speaking another language.
Yes.
That seems okay.
Okay. And so this guy, David Jansko, who's the editor, actually put his voice into the AI generator because he's Hungarian and had it inflect their tone, right? And they said, look, we could have done it with the ordinary old software, but we had a limited budget, it was only $10 million, and we didn't have a lot of time. So we had to do it really, really quickly. It would still be in production if it wasn't for this.
He's going to be in so much trouble for saying that.
Exactly.
Because these Oscars campaigns, they spend millions and millions on them. They're entire teams.
And that controversy, I'd seen the headlines and I hadn't clicked.
Yeah.
I thought that it was AI had changed his voice throughout the whole thing.
No.
Same.
That's not a big deal.
It's a tiny thing.
Like, it's a tiny thing. I watched Conclave at the weekend. People speak in so many different languages on that, and I'm sure the same thing happens.
I
Play on,
suppose
we
the
say.
question is, though, and this is what people have said, is it like performance-enhancing drugs? Is this like if I'm...
Performance-enhancing
Do
accents.
I have to? But that's
Should I have to know that? If I'm judging the Oscars, do I have to know every time AI maybe changed your facial expression, maybe changed your accent a little bit?
That is a very interesting question, Jessie Stevens. I will allow that is a very interesting question because it's probably only going to get more and more common, isn't it, as we go on. And I do, actors have always prided themselves on, can I do the accent? And that's the thing. But can I do the accent while speaking in a foreign language is a very high bar.
Well, Amelia Perez, this is what's interesting. In that movie, her voice, because she's an opera singer, the
character's an opera singer.
Yes, the actor's voice is that's changed via AI. Like as in they've synced her voice with the actual opera singer. The same thing happened in the Angelina Jolie movie.
I know, but you see, it seems silly to me. It's
Such
like,
a gotcha.
Yeah, it is a gotcha. And, in my mate Timothy's movie, he sings like Bob Dylan. Now, apparently he did. They all sang their own parts, those actors. I don't really care whether they sang their own parts or not. I don't think being a good actor necessarily means you can sing like Bob Dylan. It's like, can you act like Bob Dylan? Do you know what I mean? So if
How is it different from having stunt doubles doing some of your
if
stunts?
they'd have used AI to make him sound a bit more like Bob Dylan, I wouldn't care.
It's like a verbal stunt double.
I think that it's a slippery slope though, right? And this is what they're saying too. At the end of The Brutalist, there's a few, it's a bit unclear if this is true or not, but they say that there's some buildings that are featured at the end that are partially AI generated. So if I'm going to give you an award for cinematography, how much do you have to declare what's AI, what was really an artist?
The whole Marvel movies are filmed against a green screen. Like I think
Not nominated
we've moved
for a lot
on.
of Oscars though.
Well, that's true.
Well,
I've got another one. It's about whether or not we think that ageism is in fact dead in Hollywood.
Oh, yes.
Across the board lately, across all kinds of roles in both TV and movies, it seems like we're getting more and more stories from older women. So you think about, obviously, there is Demi Moore. Isabella Rossellini is also nominated this year. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Pamela Anderson's been all over the awards show carpet with Last Showgirl, Nicole Kidman, and so on and so on and so on. And a lot of people are saying, finally, women are getting roles throughout their life. There used to always be actresses saying once you're 30, you're dead. You only get to play mumsy roles after that. And I thought it was interesting when I interviewed Rachel Griffiths for Mid. If you haven't listened to that, you should, because it's a really good chat about all these things. I asked her why she thought that was. I said, and I posited the provocative and very Mia-esque theory that I was playing with. Is it because they don't look like older women anymore? And her theory was actually because in today's entertainment landscape, it's much, much harder to become a movie star because we're so fragmented, as we've discussed so often. And so we're kind of stuck with the movie stars we have.
Yeah, right.
Whether they are like Tom Cruise or whatever, with the minor exceptions of like a Chalamet or a Zendaya.
Or a Florence Pugh.
It's getting harder and harder to break in a mainstream, I can open a multi-million-dollar movie way, whereas your Kidman is a safe bet.
Yeah.
Your
Blanchett.
and your Blanchetts
your
are
Cruise.
and that is playing well for the old ladies. What do we think about that theory?
I think that's a fair theory, actually. I also think that there's more roles, though. Like the reason that
women are writing and directing more.
Because women are writing and directing, and I think that
That's good.
There literally weren't roles for them 20 years ago, and it's you have to be given a chance on a really complicated role, and that's what Moore and even Kidman have been given, are just brilliant scripts.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that The Substance and Baby Girl are both written and directed by women.
No.
And although women are still very underrepresented in those categories, directing, screenplay, producing, when it was all wall-to-wall men, they weren't very interested in women's lives after the age of 28.
No.
That's so true.
Can I add one more thing in, which is have you seen the interview with Ariana Grande where her voice allegedly changes halfway?
Is this another AI thing?
That's so interesting. I think that she's been quite honest about that and just said, I think I'm going to keep this voice, because she had to do a lot of work to change her voice for the role. And so she decided to keep it through the press tour. And because that's gone on for so long, and because there's still another movie and another press tour to come, I think it's just she's decided to keep it.
Yeah, she actually commented on it and said there is a part of the world that isn't familiar with what it takes to transform your voice, whether that's singing or dialect, like the amount of focus you have to have.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of Austin Butler and in the wake of Elvis, and every interview he did, he was just Elvis. Men do it all the time. But what was interesting is we saw
And they're
Ariana
lauded
kind of
for it.
break it for a minute.
Yeah, I thought what was most interesting about the controversy that was not a controversy this awards season was her relationship with her co-star Bok. I can't remember
Is he
his name.
called Bok?
Ethan
Slater.
the Munchkin.
That's it. Ethan Slater.
Ethan Slater. Earlier in the awards season, his ex-wife wrote a piece about being a therapist and how she felt about getting a divorce from this person who was very high profile.
If you want all the information on that, we've done a subscriber episode. There will be a link
so
in the show
fascinating.
notes.
And I think what's astonishing is that she has been so outside during this whole promotional tour. It's been pretty much since November nonstop or October nonstop.
Non-stop Grande.
And she's done a million interviews. She's been very accessible, and it has not blown up. She has managed, they've not walked red carpets together, they're still very much together, but they've been together at awards shows, and yet it has not, there's been no blowback on her, which I think is very masterfully handled, because that could have derailed the whole awards campaign. And she's also nominated, she's unlikely to win, but she's nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Oscars Day is like a little bit Christmas Day for me. I love Oscars Day. I know you don't care, Jessie.
Not
I know
really.
You don't care. Love, love, love it. Anyway.
What do you love about it in
I
particular?
love the frocks. I love the ceremony. I love the speeches. I like seeing all of the big stars like in one place interacting with each other.
I feel that's my Golden Globes.
I love it.
Golden Globes is a bit more rogue, and there's also TV at Golden Globes.
Well, it's true. You get a better spread, but the Oscars is the pinnacle. The Oscars is the most important one.